A brand must be much more than a logo. We are all people, right?
Yeah.
We all have a face. Let's say that the logo is a face. But then you can have someone very pretty, but then the way that the person talks is masakra.
Cześć, nazywam się Daniel Zieliński. Jestem założycielem i prowadzę spółkę QAbird. Świadczymy serwisy i consulting w obszarach quality assurance, big data, automatyzacja procesów. Dla kogo moje treści? Dla specjalistów IT, dla menadżerów, dla testerów i data inżynierów. Walor edukacyjny z solidną dawką humoru. Zapraszam. Hi everyone. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the brand and how to make it stand out from the crowd. And today is with me João Delicado. Welcome, João.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for your invitation. It's a pleasure for me to be here, to come to Poland, to come to Gdańsk, and to talk a little bit more about what we do, what we can do to make all the brands fly higher and how to build it from scratch and the importance of it when you have like a business, how important it is for you to just make a difference, be relevant and be authentic. And if you do it that way, then you'll be much more successful, definitely. So let's work on it.
I'm very happy that you're with us. Before we dig into the details, can you tell everybody what do you do for a living? What's your title? What's your experience?
I don't go so much for the titles, to be honest. I'm all in all like a
This guy is very shy. This guy is very shy.
Yeah, I like to think about innovation, creativity in all aspects. So I'm a kind of a broad thinking brain, let's say. So it all started with my love for art. I was loving all my life to paint and stuff. Then I loved also technology. So this helps me out also to okay, I want to do something connecting with technology, art, and then communication. So then I got into that path, and life took me to a place where, without even wanting it at the first place or just being driven that way, I just went out and discovered the incredible world of advertising. So I was lucky enough to work on a very big agency in Portugal at first for 9 years. And we had big brands, and I had wonderful masters that were just teaching me how the things are done. I was having incredible colleagues as well that were teaching me, and some were seniors. Back then I didn't know enough, to be honest. But then I quickly got the ideas, got the techniques, and also about my curiosity. So I was always going and digging more and more. 1 month after I arrived, I was already producing things for big brands. So it was quick. I wanted to try my own path. So after these 9 years and stuff, I was just starting my business into creativity. And yes, and then I got lucky enough to meet you and to start helping you out also with the QAbird brand. So it was super nice because all this path was just step by step, just building strongly, and it was super nice. And I don't know, I was just making TV advertising, design, branding, animation, being on the film sets, thinking about how every visual detail matters when you are filming or when you are designing, and doing it in a usually a very high level. So because the brands were big, so the need for excel and to be different was also higher. And so I learned a lot during this journey. And also when I started my business, I also learned a lot. So it has been a great way.
You are based in Lisbon, right? Yeah. In Portugal. And as far as the projects that you were working on and you are working on, can you tell us what's where and what are the industries that you are focusing on? Because you are saying big brands.
Yeah.
What type of brands? I don't know if you can say the names, of course, but maybe you can give
Yeah.
some ideas, like
Yes.
to everybody, what sizes of the projects we are talking about.
Yeah. So I was working in a big agency, an American agency that not only is there in New York and other offices as well, but New York was where it started. And actually, there is like a agency, Portuguese agency of this big agency, and also there's another one in Warsaw, for example.
Mhm.
So being such a big agency, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of big brands. We are talking about, I don't know, Vodafone, IKEA, Nestle, Bayer, Johnson and Johnson, Mazda, banks, food chains, all Portuguese, of course, beverages. So it was like a lot of different brands, and this what's the good thing about it is that when you are shifting your mind so quickly, because now you have something for IKEA or something, or the other day you have something for Vodafone or something, you are agile with your brain and you have to quickly adapt. Okay, now I'm talking about sofas. The other day I'm talking about mobile phones. So you kind of adapt to all kinds of businesses that you might have in front of you. And quickly you can understand what could be interesting for your target. What are the people looking for? So a person that wants some sofa probably has different needs than the person that has the need of the phone. So you can work around, and like all in all, we are all humans. So there are things that can connect sofas and cell phones in the end. So like we are all about connection, connecting with people. So we can work around with something that can glue people all together and can make something out of it, something with more some juice or something. So
From what I can hear, you have an amazing experience with different areas, different industries.
yeah.
So actually, I know that because I saw some samples of your work as well in your portfolio.
All right.
You've done some work for us as well for QAbird. But as far as big brands, they have like enormous amount of budgets to spend on advertising,
Right.
to stand out from the crowd, if you will. Actually, there are so many brands. The competition is huge in different industries. So today we will be talking about how to stand out, how to be different,
Mm-hmm.
how to make it like totally recognizable. So what do you think about it? How to approach this for a new company that is showing up, or maybe the one that already exists?
So like there are no formulas in creativity, right? So there are in all over the internet there are so many gurus that they are saying like, oh, you have to do like this, like that. This I am very chilled guy in that regard. So like I am more like into what is the way that I usually approach to my clients, which is like that it usually works. So I would say that to stand out from the crowd, I think it would be important at least three things. One would be to be authentic, then to be relevant, and probably I would say to be consistent as well. So starting from the authenticity, I love the approach of like getting to know the CEO of the company, for example, or the or the decision makers of the companies, because in this way I can already feel what are the vibes of the CEO or something. And since he was starting the company, I believe that being authentic means that okay, we all have like experiences in our lives that makes us different from each other. I believe that, for example, if I meet like a CEO, for example, that he is very joyful, he's very fun, and if he see his company as an extension of himself, so that he can portray and he can feel something like his, I would probably go on that route of like, you feel that your company is an extension of you, and you can relate to it, like if it was almost like a son of yours. So then maybe we can put some of your charisma and some of your flair into that. So, for example, imagine that you have like an IT company, for example. Sometimes the IT companies, they take themselves too seriously. Oh, we are like we do this, we do that, and stuff like that. You can make some twists and bring some of these human factors to these brands to make it like different. So, for example, imagine that you would have like this vibe in you, and you want to be cheerful, and you want to give a little bit of in your company, in your brand. So probably I would go more on that route of like being more fun. Don't take it so seriously. If I would, for example, bicycles, for example, maybe I could also go into more like a sportive side or an active side, and like just like bring some things that are not so related directly with your IT company, for example, but I would bring like more things that can gather people around the same thing. So probably bicycle would be very specific, but for example, sport, active life, these would be like, okay, we are an IT company that likes active people. So these could be a way to be more authentic, because it would be aligned with your values, and like, hey, I like these kind of people, and I like these values, and I believe that this makes a better life. And our IT company can portray those dreams and those promises of a better life or something like that. So maybe you can give much more than your product itself. You can be more inspirational and aligned with your values. Then, for example, about relevance, and we were talking about.
One sec. One question about the first part. So you mentioned that as far as authenticity, you are, because the way I think it works, right? What do you do is a kind of workshop, or you meet with the management, with the owner of the company, and try to understand who the guy is, what is his vision, right? And you want to kind of take off his mask and see how he is, because he's already a different person, right?
Yeah.
And then I think it's not only about him, right? Because there might be also some other factors like we all hear about like buyer personas and stuff like that. What is the company target, strategy,
of course,
mission, and everything else? Because it sounds like a startup, right? I mean, approach, yeah? So there is one person, and then this is how you start. But if there is a bigger size company, how to approach this? Do you meet with larger group?
Yeah, sure. Usually I like this approach of one-on-one. I like very much to start just like with a one-on-one conversation a lot of times, and get to know this person a lot, or the board, like I said. And then, yes, like you said, I like to just like take out the masks and like dig what's the reality and what are the most important things, of course. And after, it's like kind of a boutique-ish kind of approach, like almost like a tailor. You come and I will make like the brand that better suits you, or I will shape the brand that you already have into something more relevant and more aligned to you. Of course, for example, after I know you and after I shape it, when I am trying to shape it, I will, of course, have a one-on-one situation. I will ask, hey, what is your kind of target? What is your kind of client? How do you want to be for him? For example, even the way that you talk, it also inspires me to create, for example, the tone of voice of your brand. A brand must be much more than a logo. We are all people, right?
Yeah.
We all have a face. Let's say that the logo is a face. But then you can have someone very pretty, but then the way that the person talks is massacre. So it's good that you like connect the two things. So for example, that doesn't make sense that you have like a very modern brand and very, very funny logo, and then you are speaking very seriously. There is no connection in that. There is no, how do you want to make it work? So it should match.
It should be consistent, right?
It should be consistent. It's the same thing as like the personas, for example. When you are digging into like the kind of client that you want to have, then you know probably how to better impact the kind of person. So for those out there that don't know more or less what is like the persona kind of process, is like, imagine that you have your business, and then you are trying to figure out the type of client that you would have. So for example, you would say like Anna. Anna, what is her profession? What are the things that she's keen on? what she likes, what she's interested about. She's a mom of like, I don't know how many kids. You can even like dig into like some roles that it could be relevant. So don't be too specific that it will like narrow a lot like your personas, but try to like to just keep a group of like, okay, I'm communicating for people, for example, that like sports, or I'm liking people that care about family values and stuff. I don't know. And then it can help you out on like driving the way that you will communicate. So you can narrow some like niches of communication that will make sense to you as a brand. This would be one way of you already, like after you see the values of the brand and like building the values that are good for you, then you will say like, okay, what could be the type of clients that I would like? What would be like the people that I would be interested about? What are they interested about? So that I can know also where I should be. So if, for example, the businessman, like, I don't know, sailing, maybe if my target is over there because I have a product related, for example, with sailing, then it would make sense for me to already go to these events, to just like stay close to these events, or just like to be relevant in these events. Like, hey, we are connecting with this. I think that this is kind of like common sense, right? It's like if you, in the process of the branding, you know who you want to impact, who are your targets, then it makes it much more easy to get away.
It's
right?
like a key to understand even your own business, right?
Yes.
But still, like we have two things, right? One is the owner. Second is the, let's say, values and the tone of voice.
Yes.
And again, how to make it stand out from the crowd? Because like for me, this is a very good approach, what you are doing, that this is tailor-made.
Yeah.
Because it resonates for me, with uniqueness, kind of.
Yeah.
So you are not like, buying a house and want to finish it somehow with some furniture and so on. In many cases you hear, what do you like? Let's create a mood board or something. So this is not your approach. You do it differently to create something unique and to not copy. I think that's also something important, right?
Yeah.
To listen first and then to think and here is the magic, how it happens, that you, first of all, try to understand everything. Of course, the owner of the company has to be prepared and do the homework before. But then this magic momentum is like when you somehow visually, and not only visually, but visually mainly, convert all of the knowledge that you've gathered into logo, into other elements. That's we will speak about soon.
Yeah.
Because it's not only about logo, and Polish companies they tend to say, you have a logo, you have a branding. No. And it's not only that, we know that. How this magic happens? Because I saw your art, I saw your designs, you did some work also for us.
Yeah.
And I must say it's not like something that I've seen somewhere else. It's different.
I think you should always deliver more than your product. Always. You should be inspirational as a brand. You should also connect with emotion. And then after connecting with emotion, then the people could be more keen on buying your product. There are some brands that are doing this quite well. For example, Apple. And Apple connects a lot with innovation and the creative minds. Actually, like the way they were saying was like, think different was their mojo. So they were more or less like saying, like, if you like to think different, if you want to defy the status quo, and if you like creativity and beauty, well, actually, we have a product for you that is this one. They were doing it very differently because, like, in that time, there was IBM as well. And for example, IBM was like, just like, hey, we have this computer, he has this processor, it has like this, and you can do this. So they were like doing in a more technical approach, and they were not so inspirational. So probably they were like speaking up to probably more people that were into like technology.
Engineering focus, right?
Exactly.
There is the specs. Yeah. Here you go. Yeah.
What Apple did was like the opposite way, and they were just like making like, hey, if you like to think different from the crowd, if you want to have your own thoughts, if you think that's interesting, if you like beauty and minimalism and stuff like that, if you want to think different, well, You can join us. We have here a product for you. And then it kind of creates like an interest to keep on being part of the, how to say, of the pack, like a wolf's pack. Then you create community around these values. Like, I like innovation, I like these things and I like that. So I want to have this brand.
Yeah, because it's fancy, it's unique.
Yes.
They pay attention to this kind of experience that you are getting. And this, I don't know, creations and tone of voice, maybe also communication and the logo, if it's like done in a way that it's present somewhere, everybody kind of knows what is it. And then it stays in their mind, right? So whenever they're like actually thinking about something that is fun, or it's a great design, they will actually think, like, the first thing that they will bring up to their mind is going to be this brand.
Yeah, you got a surprise. And this is what Apple did. And like you said, very well, everything matters. Like, the experience counts a lot, really counts a lot.
Maybe I can give you a different example, because I've heard recently that hotels in Poland, they started to focus on the experience of the customer.
All right.
So they started to print, for example, when you enter a hotel, right? There is an apple that you can actually eat. It's a real fruit, real deal,
Okay.
but with your name printed on it.
Okay. Printed? How printed?
I don't know.
Right.
But there is like a
with a laser,
stamp
like a
or
stamp?
laser. I don't know.
All right.
But it's like that.
Yeah.
So they're like paying attention to the single detail. So it
Okay.
will stay in your mind what was the experience. And then you will use again the same company when you are traveling to different city, or maybe you will come back to even to the same one.
With your name in the apple.
Yes, for example.
All right. I never thought of it.
Yeah, I wanted to check if there is anything like that in Portugal
Not that I
already
know.
being practiced.
Not that I know. I've been into lots of hotels and I never had this luck of having my name stamped on an apple. But what's the meaning behind it, I wonder?
I think it's like everybody wants to feel special, and with unboxing stuff like new iPhone, right?
Yeah.
This is fun to actually experience that, like to open this great looking packaging and then take out the phone and then, experience this. And if it's even good quality but different brand with better spec, but the packaging is bad, then the experience is like kind of cheap.
It is.
And this, I think, is the same for the companies that are actually selling services or different goods. Let's say it's not something that you can purchase like from IKEA and stuff.
Yeah.
It's more like a service or consulting or whatever that you can get. It's about the experience, and now how to do it to stand out from the crowd. It really matters, right? To do it the right way. Are there any other elements? Because I was wondering if there is anything like a guide. So among the way, when you prepare a branding strategy, when you have a customer who wants you to prepare like a logo and other elements, is there anything like a Bible that he can later on use, or a guide that will help him to continue the path, right? To build this consistency, to not go off. Yeah. Because I can imagine you created something great, but then the owner or the another, let's say, stakeholder in the company, he decides, maybe we'll change the color a bit to be this one or that one.
Yes. So one of the key things when you are building a brand, you see this across like all the big brands. All the big brands have something what is called the Brandbook. So the Brandbook is very important because like it's very easy for a brand that's one day is working with a designer, the other day is working with another designer. And who says like designer says anything about any creative person, copywriter, art director, photographer, anything. So if you don't set the rules will be broken because it's part of the creative thinking, right? You are getting paid to do different things. But you don't see like, for example, suddenly like a logo being stretched out, or you are building the brand in a certain way and then suddenly comes someone and just like destroys like not only the logo, but the way that you're communicating. They come up with some idea and then suddenly like, hey, but this is not consistent with anything. So for example, you don't see it, I don't know, like you don't see...
Like you prepare, for example, premium branding, like logo and everything. And then someone decides, okay, our values or our strategy was to be presumed as premium brand.
Yeah.
But then
someone
comes in and he was like, okay, I'm focused on the cost reduction. So we are buying gadgets for our clients or for our employees, and we are gonna choose the cheapest things and just put our logo there.
And not relevant and stuff.
And this is like the consistency. There is like a big like disappointment, right?
Yes.
What the heck is going on here?
Yes.
Are they premium or not premium?
They are, like when you are building your own company, come on, it's like going a little bit back on the branding, on the brand book. The importance of the brand book is just like not only you are setting your values, like what are you thriving for, what you defend, what are the things that matter to you, and then it will translate like the way you will design the logo, even the colors, going for color philosophy. So for example, if I want to take myself into serious, there is this thing that the people go a lot into blues and stuff. Mm-hmm. But sometimes, for example, if you take a look on the competition, and then if all of them want to be serious, then you have the right to do a different way, because you want to stand out a little bit from the rest. So if everyone is blue, why you should be blue? You are this exact same way as the other fishes in the tank are. So maybe you can go on the other way. And then the way that you choose colors always portrays a little bit of more character into different things. So this can guide you also into like the way that you can communicate. So this will be there also in the brand book. So how we can communicate, how is your tone of voice, like I said to you back then, like should we talk on the third person, on the first person, should be funny, should be take seriously, should we be geeky, should we be like, no, relax and stuff. And after, all the rules of how you can communicate. So for example, you can have an extra thing, what we call visual device. And the visual device is usually a graphic that you should have in every point of communication that you have. There was a long time that Vodafone had like a triangle that was like angled on the corner, let's say, on the corner of the page and stuff. And then you had a logo attached. So it was kind of like a radar, like a laser beam or something like that. And inside this laser beam, it was a red shape. So it was good because it was creating a color shape that you could write anything there, regardless the image that you had behind you. So it was a safety area for communication. The good thing about that is that when I was driving my car and I was looking at an outdoor very, very far away, just because it had that red thing, I could already know that it was about Vodafone, for example, without even knowing, without even like being close enough to see what was written, what was the image all about. But just this red thing, triangle, it was already consistent. So also the brand book sets these rules to be consistent in all communication points. Yeah, it's super, super important.
Because it's like, what are the elements there, as I remember ours, that you've created. And I really admire what you did, because we are using this, like this is the... as far as documentation or rules that we are using, as far as visual communication and stuff, whenever we do something, we always refer to the brand book. And I love it because everything is there. So like various different colors, ideas of when to use and how the version of the logo.
Yeah.
The color of the logo matters as well. And there are different versions, depends on the requirements need. Maybe if your brand needs to be connected, or like you're partnering with different company, right? So, and their logo is in different color palette. That is like, for example, yours is like, might be orange and theirs is like red and it doesn't go along. So maybe you can use the black one.
Exactly. Yes. There are ways that you can actually use the logo to be like on pair, so that no one stands out.
That's right.
This is also like more correct in terms of business.
Yeah.
You are settling the same level. This is
Of course, it's not a race. Yeah,
It's not
who
a
is
race.
brighter, who is like more vibrant.
Yeah, we are side by side, so
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to just stand out in that occasion. But for example, yeah, the Brandbook has the different visual devices. So for example, I remember that in QAbird, we were using a detail of the shape of the bird that is like present on the eye. It is nice because it's like wavy, and the fact that the bird is like just climbing up.
We are talking about this one.
Yeah. So it was like a wavy, like kind of like very minimalistic bird, but it's like going up like when you are partnering with your clients, they are all going up as well. So it's success. The values are up. Might be like a place there where they were, then they were going a little bit down, and then with your help, they are coming back again and just go until the infinite, let's say. So it was nice to just like get these, and it was like kind of natural to just explore these wavy things, to just like build the device, the visual device that the people in your all communication, they could already see, oh, this is like the wavy thing that is like yellow, or it is rather yellow, or as far as I remember, it was like also like a blue version, but usually it was yellow to be like, this is the main color of the brand. Towards positivity, towards like value. It was quite natural, this process, like, hey, don't put just the image and the logo.
Yeah.
Build something up that also can help you with the communication, with your headlines, with your copywriting, with your call to action in the end, like visit here, www.QAbird.com. So, and all these things, also the style of photograph matters, like the visual way that you will communicate. Rather it is photograph, how is the look that you would love that your photographs would have? Is it minimalistic?
Yeah.
Is it very crowded? Is it techy? Does it have like those special effects, or let's say like those graphisms on top of the photo that suddenly looks like holograms, or I don't know, like Minority Report stuff? Does it need? Sometimes, for example, we don't need to those things to just portray technology. We don't need those fake things because it looks fake, at my opinion. Like many times the IT companies, for example, they go towards like these very geeky stuff. Sometimes it is good. Sometimes it can make sense, but most of the times when they are doing all that way, maybe sometimes we can do it differently sometimes. So
this is consistency. I remember also that like big part of the Brandbook is also related to the fonts.
The font, yeah.
And which font is being used for what?
Yeah.
Like the paragraph, title, all the stuff like that. So this is very, very important as well.
Yes.
And not everybody does that.
No.
So how do you approach that?
Usually don't take more than 3 fonts, I would say. One big font that can be either super thin or medium for big titles. Then I would go for like a medium with some body for the body copy. But then it all depends. You can choose depending on the distance that you are seeing the fonts. But the fonts should be also consistent with the way that you can communicate. So for example, if you have like a more funny character as a brand, then choose like something that might be more rounded or more funny. Not the Comic Sans, please. But do something like more like chilled, modern, that can be like digital friendly, because this matters a lot. For example, there are some brands that the logos were created back then, and they are not thinking about how small their brand can be represented in the mobile phones.
Yep.
The details will get lost. So think that if your logo doesn't work in the digital thing because it's too old, then you are losing also power. Every day people are in the digital, so mobile or in laptops or something. So
and
also about that.
And
Adapt.
also checking, actually, for example, Polish brands, as far as communication. Don't look for like super fancy fonts that are like everywhere, but double check Polish special characters. Yeah,
exactly.
I was actually really surprised that like every font that you picked up for us, there wasn't any problem with any type of letters. So yeah. That really matters, because later on you don't want to skip the Polish
Yeah,
characters
yeah.
and be presumed as a brand that is ignoring it.
Yes, when the brand is international, I always go for Google Fonts because Google Fonts are ready usually for that. So it's a really good resource. Just go to the Google Fonts. You have pretty much nice fonts there. They are not like boring. You have like some of them that can be super nice. And then also you can be playful with the way that you make the composition of the words so that they are not so boring. I remember that once I was in OFF. It's one of the best design conferences worldwide. It's done every year in Barcelona. And I remember there was this designer that was saying like, hey, why should you put the text when you're making like a communication thing, like I don't know, like a big title or something? Why should you put always like the words at the same position, like horizontal? Because what does it what are you different from a person that just goes to the word of in the office and just like writes the word? So no, you can be playful. You can look at the meaning of the word, just play a little bit with that, just change the fonts, create like even like you can separate or you can like make it dynamic or just play with it because there's no difference between you and Office. Like the Microsoft Office, right? So you can go further. You can explore this path of like just like, hey, don't put it all aligned and don't put it all horizontal and stuff. And like, no, you're not. You're just like not giving enough. Also, you can be emotional with the words, and you can do something, and you can change, and you can, yeah, because like Google Fonts can be the starting point for body copy, so extensive text. But man, the logo, no. The logo can be a Google font. The logo should be tailored regarding these things that the person or the brand wants to be. So no, this is just the first part, and then take out like some corners or just like build it. Or many times I don't go even like for any font. I just start drawing. It was the case of QAbird. So you liked this thing and you wanted to be like, you adapt easily to your client's needs. You're not stiff. Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's make it like more friendly. Let's make it more like very precise on the way that you drive your business and like drive like the best solutions for your clients. But then let's have some connection. And you see that on the R&D, for example, part, then it all flows very well. And I'm looking now to the logo to just like how I did it. The words or the typography should have a beginning, but then like bring some salt to the recipe. Don't stay like as they are. No, do something about it.
Do you have any, let's say, final thoughts, like a summary for our listeners or audience that are watching us? What would you like to tell them to focus on?
Yeah, if you want to make a brand that can stand out, please speak the truth, be authentic, be inspirational as well. Give more than your product does. So if you believe that you are standing for something, some value, just go on that path. And your product is just a way to go on that way. And you can build community around those values. You can be relevant because you're not just selling your product. You are giving much more. You are being inspirational towards something that you really believe based on your life experience, in your likes, in your experience. And then be consistent. Don't change always your mind. And that's why the Brandbook is there. The Brandbook will define based on your values, like where you want to go. So just keep that way. Communicate the same way. Communicate visually, with words as well. Just keep consistency and keep showing up because the competition out there is fierce. Everybody's communicating at the same time. Show up constantly. You don't need to show up every day because the people will get mad at you. Nobody will want to see you every day. Be relevant with topics that matter to the people. Listen what's going on out there. Be fast. For example, if there's something going on in the society, be fast. Because the people will have that interest in that moment. And then you are showing up when the people are talking about, be fast. Sometimes the brands, should we do this? Should we do that? you are losing. While you are trying to decide if it's good or not, no, sometimes it's better to be spoken than not be spoken sometimes. So be bold. Like, for example, like the Virgin CEO, Richard Branson, he was always having this attitude. Man, just like grab the momentum. Like, for example, when they were saying that like the British Airways, they were saying that Virgin Airlines were losing their things, and he was dressing himself as a parrot, taking a photo near like the airport, I think of Heathrow. I don't know if it was like the airport, and he was showing up, and he was like, the newspapers were there, and in the next day he was like in the newspapers first page, and like, oh, he's just like such a out of the box guy. He risks and he's bold. So yeah, don't like be expressive, like be relevant in the moment, like catch the moment, and yes, and be truthful
And
to
be yourself.
Because if you're the people say fake it until you make it. If you fake it, it will sooner or later people will
It will
get
come
you.
out, of course.
So if you are pravdziwy, if you are like the real deal, and if you communicate towards the same way and like you are relevant and you are showing up, then the people will remember you better.
Thank you. It was a very, very nice ending. Thank you so much for coming from Portugal. It was super inspirational. If you have any comments, if you would like to hear more from João, or you have some specific questions about branding, feel free to ask a question in the comment. And of course, don't forget to subscribe our channel, and see you soon. Thank you very much, João. Our guest, João Delicado. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Dziękuję, obrigado, dziękuję bardzo.
Thank you. Obrigado.
No.